videos. Nice. Okay, this is the first time I've gone live here on my phone instead of just being on my computer. So I just want to test this out and see what it's like. I'm holding my phone, but I do have a phone stand, so I can actually put that on my gimbal if this is something that I think I'm going to do more of in this format instead of always being near my computer. So this will be fun if we can get this going and just like jump in because I have a slight setup where I do my recording for my short videos, and that's already set up. I just didn't feel like moving it, and I have it in a perfect position right now. Like it's the perfect place, centered. I can just attach the phone. I don't have to worry about adjusting. Turn the light that way, and we can rock. So I don't want to do too much in disturbing that. But okay, cool. Because I've seen other people go live on this using their mobile. I just haven't tried it yet. So this is the first time. I figured before I heads off to end my day so I can begin my day later on, I just give this a shot. Give this a shot. Oh, we can do a green screen on here too. Ooh, okay. Hide live video. Don't want to do that. Oh, snap. We can do that. All right. See, I've never done this on here before. This is very interesting. Because, yeah, I have StreamYard, and I use StreamYard usually. I'm on StreamYard using that. But I also want to kind of do some lives on mobile, especially when I go on. I go to one of my conferences. I did want to go live at one of my conferences just to show folks some things as well as take video, and I can do highlights so that you can see some of the conferences that I go to, and that maybe you can go too. People don't really talk as much. At least I haven't run into the YouTubers who go to conferences that talk about a lot of conferences unless they're YouTube conferences. Like it's about, VidLive Summit or something like that. I don't see too many others who kind of talk about going to conferences that have to do with other things outside of like YouTube or being a YouTuber. So I thought that would be interesting to not only just do video while I'm there, but to also do a live and just talk and maybe bring somebody on camera and be like, hey, I think that would be kind of cool so that you guys can see because there are other conferences out there. Like you just don't have to go to a YouTube conference because you're a YouTuber. There are conferences about damn near everything. You're an accountant, bunch of accounting conferences. If you're into new media, there's different types of conferences that people can go to, particularly, to go network, or for some of you who are like freelancers, to get your new business. Like a lot of people get their next client because they met them at a meetup and, had a drink or sat next to them at a table, and people kind of negate that. That's a lot of ways that a lot of these people are getting business. I talk to business owners damn near every day, and it's amazing how many of them, like, everything is through referral. So either they worked in the industry and they worked in a company and they left and they kept those connections, and that's how they're turning around and getting their clients, and or getting referrals from people that they used to network and used to work with. Like that's what I'm seeing most time, more so than them running ads on any platform. That's just what kind of I'm seeing in my experience talking to them is doing a lot of that. So, you know, if you are a freelancer, I don't know how you're doing it. I know a lot of people push ads, and I'm not against that. I'm great and not against it. But most people, most businesses I talk to during the week are like, oh yeah, we don't run any ads. We just, it's like, well, how do you get your clients? It's all referral. I know, 15 people in the industry I've worked with for 20 years, and they refer work to me. And that's how they're getting all their clients. So, if it's different for you, you let me know. They never figure out like how to do advertising. Like, and advertising doesn't always mean that it has to be like Google ads or Facebook ads or stuff like that. If you old school advertising, that could be banner ads for old school Google. It could be direct mail. Like I do some direct mail, But a lot of folks I'm talking to, they don't do any of that. So, and it's all cool until like they hit some bad times, like their industry is kind of collapsing, and the people they knew either retired, so they're not in the mix to give them work, you know, or their industry is kind of collapsing. So that's kind of the stuff that happens. But if it's different for y'all, y'all let me know, because that's who I've been talking to. I should, but why not? First of all, I'm on Japanese time too. When you have clients in Japan, what, like I have a client meeting, so kind of have to be up. So I have an alternative schedule. So my clients are relatively global. I have U.S. clients, but I also have clients that are overseas. So when I need to meet with them, sometimes that means your sleep schedule has to be what it is. So it was something new. I'm Marty. What industry are you talking about? Like across industry. So like I do a lot of work in tech, right? Tech and entertainment. So you're talking about processors, tech companies, in that space, tech companies with, some of the AI stuff that they're, building tools for other companies. So I'm very much into kind of that part of the space. So that's across the board. But a lot of people I talk to, like they're ex-engineers or they are in cybersecurity. Like I work with a lot of cybersecurity engineers at times, and the ones that did their own thing, like they're like, screw this. I could do bad all by myself. I ask them how to get clients because I talk to these people, and some of them there's some people who are personable, and there's some people who are very personable, and there's some people like, I don't even know how you're still in business. Like they're technically very good at what they do. Don't get me wrong. It's just that when you first meet them and the conversation you need to get going, they're not the best at that. So um, when stuff dries up, it dries up for them quick, and they're not really good at kind of doing the initial, hey, how you doing? Da da da. Because a lot of them are, depending on how far in the spectrum they are, right? So if you work with folks like that, you know what I'm talking about. It could be that bad. So I always ask them like, how are you getting clients? So I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, you gotta be doing something. And they're like, oh no, I just know so and so, and we went to school together, or we worked here together, And I was telling them, I was like, you better go to some conferences. Like maybe get a speaking gig at a conference, because like if you ever get a chance to go on stage, right? And that is like the best credibility. Get someone to film you. I don't care if it's with their phone. Like when you're up on there, just try to get someone to film you. You know, you know. Um, that's the best. That's the best way, because they'll build instant credibility. Like people like, oh, they're on stage, so they're, it's. I've seen work with folks. I've seen folks on stage, and I'm like, I know you know what the hell you're doing, and they get people rushing them to go sign up with them. I'm like, okay, that's just what I see. If you guys see something different, like some of you are probably, you might be in tech, you might be a consultant as well, because I'm a consultant. So if you're a consultant, you know how that go. So either you're a consultant like individually and you maybe have a team, or you're just a solo consultant, or you work for one of those big firms that have everybody's a consultant under that firm, and they got a really one of those, and then they send you places, so you could be one of those. So it's very interesting. So I always ask the smaller folks, the smaller tech agencies, like how they do their thing, because once again, most of the time technically they're very good at what they do, right? If it's implementing certain things for the AI for the company they're doing, because that's what they're doing, or they're doing different custom tool development, extremely good at what they do. They're just not good at the peopling. So if you're not good at the peopling and you don't have anyone in your company who's good at the peopling so that you can actually get a sale, how the hell is that happening for you? Because that's a struggle for a lot of folks, especially when they go out on their own. It's like, how am I going to get clients? But for those types of kind of freelancers or agencies, because they're in the tech side, they get to charge usually a lot more money. So there's one gentleman that we want to work in different projects together every so often. He's another solo consultant. To have him on a project, on a main project, is usually $250,000. So he only wants like 4 clients a year, if that, for him, when he's told me. So as long as his referrals don't completely die, he's okay if he eats like even two or three because it's relatively a lot of money compared to what he needs. So that's what I'm saying. But like most people who are, if you're a consultant or freelancer, you guys ain't packing money like that, right? Because are you charging 250 grand to work on a project? You know, some people do that and other people don't. So it's really, dependent. Like most freelancers, that's not you're not doing projects that big. You might be doing $10,000, $20,000 project, but like he has he higher level for what he does. So, that relying only on referrals sometimes is not kind of the best option for a lot of folks if you are not doing something like of that stature that he's doing on projects. So if you are a freelancer, like let me know, like what is it that you guys are doing? Are you just referral based? Like someone knows a guy and you're the guy or the girl? Or are you guys like doing cold outreach? Like are you cold calling? Like are you cold calling? Are you cold DMing? I'm curious to see what you're doing because I'm listening to what they do. I'm hearing nothing but referrals from those kind of consultants. Maybe y'all doing something different. And how's that working for you? Like especially for those of you who cold call. I know some people on YouTube they'll cold call live for you and all that mess, but I'm wondering how's that, working for you guys now? Because if I've cold called before and I can, but for my industry, it's not the easiest to cold call for because it's hard to get the direct number. Um, it's hard to get direct number. Like it depends. Like for instance, if you're going after an enterprise company, how many times are you going to get a direct number to someone who's the CDO or the CIO or the CMO? That stuff ain't usually listed nowhere. So it's hard to get those direct numbers. So if they even have a number, you're often like filtered to customer service. You don't get too many direct numbers depending on the type of company. Like you might get someone to pass you off an extension. So therefore you got two layers of people you got to get through to get an extension. So usually what I have done is I've sent some cold emails out. Because some people in the footer of their cold email and their signature, they have their number and their extension. And so I usually do that so I can get the direct number in the extension. So I can have a direct phone call. So I don't always have to go through 2 and 3 people to get them. When it's come to bigger companies, smaller companies, you don't have to go through that, but the bigger companies you do. Like there's always someone in the middle. So I usually will do that if I want to try to find a direct extension. Is I'll send them a couple cold emails. When they reply back in their signature is usually some in case I've gotten their cell phone number, which has been pretty cool, and get it direct. So, but apparently I'm doing more than what most of them doing. They're doing mostly building up their referral network. So if you turn around and I guess do that, you can I guess coast for 5 to 7 years without having to worry about doing any type of cold outreach. But I'm telling you, they don't. The ones I've talked to, they do less of that. So when things go wrong, like if a deal don't go through for them, and or like they're in the industry and the stuff is just going downhill, they don't really have a way to kind of keep the business running. So usually, if they have people working with them, they lay them off, and they might go back to a job, you know. So I've seen a lot of that. It's been interesting because people like last year said it was not such a great year for them. So they're kind of looking for like people to do lead gen. So if you do lead gen, there's plenty of people who are kind of looking into lead gen. If you want to try it, I would do. If you're into lead gen, you might want to hit up small consultancies because most of them are referral based. So if you do that, go hit them up because the ones I'm talking to, because I work with some of them on projects, they ain't really got a lead gen system. So if you can talk to them, you might be able to get you some good clients for those of you who do that. Yeah, so if you do that, go after them. I'm telling you, there's a bunch of them I'm talking to, and they need a lead gen system. I don't do that, but if you guys do that, go hit up them small consultants out there where it's only, what you see the face of one person is usually 1 to 3 people. A lot of them said they had a really bad 2025, and so they're looking at who can help them, get more leads. So if you're in that space, hit them up. You at least probably get a good conversation. And if that's if you're really good at that type of lead gen for them. And those are the type of, like for even the small brand agencies, when there's only 7 people, most of them have a referral base. So but I'm seeing more of them like trying to figure out lead gen. So if you're good at that, or maybe you're good at cold calling, I would try to get a list of those folks and go after them if you're good at and you can make that happen. You probably get yourself a nice contract and subsidize your income unless you do this full time, unless you are full time and you're freelance too. So go after them. I've had the conversations. That's just not my bag. That's not what I come in there to do. For those particular type of companies, if I'm going to do lead gen, I do it from like big enterprise companies. For smaller companies, they're a bit too small because this is the problem you'll run into. Because they're so small, and most of the time the owner doesn't want to hire a bunch of people. If you're really good at doing lead gen for them, what happens is they want to stop. And if they stop, you don't get paid. So that's the kind of the problem with working with really small agencies like that, is that they don't want to scale. And so I don't particularly care for that. So I like working with companies that are a bit bigger. But if that's your thing, you're good at it, go after them. That's my thing. If you're great at it and you want to like cold call and you're good SDR, go after those smaller like brand agencies, those smaller like tech consulting, cybersecurity companies, because they need help. They need help. So if you're great at that stuff, go after them. I know some of you might be going after more of the local businesses, so your contractors and stuff. And contractors could be interesting to work with. I've had a lot of success working with contractors, but if you want folks that they're charging 20, 30, 50, 60,000 for their services, go after them. You at least probably get a couple of meetings and you get to see what it looks like, and get some money from them. So go ahead and do it. I like the slightly bigger companies that can scale, but if you out there and you're like, hey, you want to make a few $1,000s for a short-term contract, that might be good for some of you if that's what you're into. It is an open market, especially with like all the weird things happening around the world, wherever you are. Go ahead and try it out. Make that money, baby. Because bills ain't getting no cheaper. And most of those companies, most of those smaller ones will be out of business anyway. So you might as well catch them on their last leg. Hey, let me, but if you're really good at what you do, like if you're a good SDR, you can make, like right now, if you are a good SDR, you can make a nice bag. And now's the time to go after them because they're all looking at their budget. They're like, ooh, I don't have clients lined up. So if you are a good SDR, or you know how to build the tools to help with the lead gen, like you built the AI, lead gen stuff, and you know how to work that, hit them folks up now. Hit them up now so that you can turn around and, get the money in your, right? Because everybody else making money off of you. So you might as well do it. So if you've been following that or doing that, or you're just a really good SDR, you're good at cold email, you're good at, cold calling, do that. That could put some money in your pocket. I know there's I don't remember his name, but I know he has a channel on here. If I remember, if I'm on a live, I'll tell you guys. And he fractional SDR. He basically has a book of business, a book of companies, and he calls for like 2 to 4 hours a day to book these people appointments. And I think he charges about $250 an appointment. And so he's banking in cash, but he's going after, he's not necessarily doing contractors, he's doing like MSPs. He's doing cybersecurity companies. He's doing companies that are kind of like that, right? They don't want to hire a sales team anymore, or they've downsized, and he's subsidizing for them. So if that's your bag. Oh, what's an SDR? Okay, so an SDR, or it's either SDR or BDR, depends on what industry you're in, right? So basically what you're doing is you're the person who's going to do the cold outreach, the initial outbound outreach. You're going to be doing the cold calling, cold emailing, cold DMing now as well. That's what SDR or BDR does. They generate the business for the business. They generate the leads, and they will qualify them. So, but if you're good at that, like if you know how to do it and you're good at that, there's plenty of companies that will hire you as a fractional SDR or a fractional BDR. So I'm just saying, like, if that is your bag, if that's what you're good at doing, or you have an AI system and you do that, go at them companies now. Go make your money. Go make your money, because a lot of them are hiring fractional people to take those roles. So go get a few of them, do your thing, make your money, and just call it a day. Because there's a lot of people I meet, who are rely on referrals. Their whole thing is all referral based. And so now they're looking at people to help them generate business. And so they're willing. Some of them places are willing to spend like $1,500 a month. Other places are willing to spend like $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So if that's what you're good at doing, or you can do it, then go ahead. Oh, who is that? Well, yeah, if you have the AI system built out and you know how to put that in. So, like, for instance, I'll just like cyber. Like, I deal with a bunch of cyber consultants. So I usually ask them, well, how do you generate business? Because once again, I talk to these people because we're working on a project together. And I'm like, you are not personable at all. How the hell are you getting business, right? And they're like, oh, it's all referrals. It's like, well, what happens when referrals dry out? And they're like, yeah, now they're looking for people to generate leads for them. So they're willing to pay, right? And that's where they are right now. So, like, small cyber consultancies, like, it's less than 20 people working there. Has been big. Small brand agencies, it might be 4 or 5 people working there. They don't have a sales team. They don't have any outreach. Yeah, they don't have any outreach. So if you have a tool that help them do that, or you can do that, I'm seeing a lot more and more open to it. Like, last year was kind of tough for a lot of folks, and then they're like, oh crap, how am I going to generate leads? Because all of their pipelines are drying up, and it was all referral based. So if that's what you got, go out there and reach out to them. So, like, cyber tech is big tech, because they're willing to pay a lot of money per call. Like, I've seen a few that were paying like $250 per booked appointment. You got your smaller brand agencies, they do the logo design, the strategic stuff. They redesign. Like, there's one I talked to yesterday. They redesigned gas stations and retail stores, but they're only a team of like 5, right? And everything has been referral based. So they were looking for lead gen. So if you do lead gen, go after them. That's not something I do for that type of business. But if you know AI enough to generate leads for them, go after them. Like, now they're interested. If you were having issues before, if you were prospecting, those folks are interested now. Go hit them up now, because they're looking for the help. I know last year was kind of touch and go maybe for you, but go hit them up. Go get that money. So yeah, that's what I mean. But that's what SDR is. But that's what I mean. That's what I'm seeing with other people who are like small consultants. They're looking for sales team help. So if you can do it, or you can build it out for them, you could probably have people who are willing to pay you well for what you do, and you're not taking up like all your day to do it. So if you do like have a full-time job and then you also do this on the side, you only need a few people and you should be pretty good. So I'm just saying, for y'all to go out and do it. It's not something I do for companies that small. I do it for companies that are much bigger. Like, they already have a sales team. They have lead lists. They have customers. Like, that's where I shine. I go in and build the systems and implement them from there. But I go after big companies. But I run into a lot of smaller companies, and they need that type of help. So if you can do it, like, if you have any AI that connects with LinkedIn and helps have those like meetings booked, like, if you have that, oh, you're golden right now. You are golden. Take advantage of it, because it won't always be that way. Because it's going to get to the mid-year, and then people are not going to want to spend no money because everyone's going on vacation. And summer comes up, that kind of stuff. So go after them now. It's still like the beginning of the year. Go after them now. Go make that. Like, some of y'all are really technically savvy, and you're good at what you do. And I'm telling you to go out there, because there's a bunch of people where they don't know where to find you, and they don't know, and they don't look. So you just got to kind of pop up in front of them. So go ahead and do it. I'm for everybody making some money. So go ahead and do it. Because I've seen when these companies don't do it, either they shut down or they hire people who don't know what they're doing, and it turns out to be disastrous. So if you know what you're doing, go out there and you're going to make that money. Go ahead and do it. I'm encouraging you all. Go ahead and do it. If you learn those skills, or you've been doing it for maybe your job, go out there and do it. Don't be afraid to to do it. Don't be afraid to go out there and get you a few freelance clients. Don't be afraid, because if you're working a job, they ain't afraid of laying you off. So go out there, get you some freelance clients. You already know how to do the thing. Go after those smaller consultancies and stuff like that. There's only 3, 5 people, maybe 10 people working there, because I guarantee you they don't have a sales team. The CEO is doing the sales. They're doing the sales calls. So if you can generate leads, if you can hook up an AI system to generate leads from like LinkedIn, or you know how to code DM really well, because some of you have like those skills already. So you just got to apply them to those companies, because they don't know how to do that. They want to do the work that they're contracted for. Like if they're a brand strategist, that's what they want to do. They don't want to cold call people. They don't want to cold email people. So if you do that, I'm telling you, just don't be afraid to go and do it. There's way too many of them right now that I'm running into because of what we do that need the help. I'm just not the person to help them. So I'm telling you, if you got those skills, go out there and do it, because I can't help them. They're too small for what I need to work to be good. But for a lot of you, that could be your first steps. And so I'm encouraging you to do it, because I know it's difficult. I work with a lot of small companies where there's only 2 people working at the company before. I know what that looks like. So and I know what it was is. It's a lot easier now than it was then when we were doing it. So I'm encouraging you, go ahead and take your first steps. Go get you some side money from these companies, because now it's the beginning of the year. They're making their budgets. You need to be a part of their budget. So if you're going to charge them $1,000 a month, you're going to charge them 2, you're going to charge them 4. Be a part of their budget now. Start getting in their inbox. Start getting on their, on their calendar, and then make you a part of their budget, and so that you can get paid too. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. There's no sense in like sitting around and then watching the world go by and then crap happening. Just go out there and do it. Most of you already got the skills. Most of you've already got the skills to do better for these companies than they have been doing for themselves. So just go ahead and do that. I'm here to encourage you guys to go out there and do that. That's what I'm encouraging you guys to do, because y'all on YouTube are much better at doing it. I've seen like horrendous crap that people have bought. And I'm like, why would you buy something like this? It don't even sound like it should work, but they buy it all the time. So it might as well be from you guys, because you guys at least will turn around and you'll follow people and you'll build all the outreach stuff, and you've done it because you do it at work, or you've learned to do it here. So the next step for you is to go and reach out to these companies. Go at these small tech companies, cybersecurity companies, the MSPs. They do, they do the local business hookups. They build all that, the security or the cameras. There's a bunch of them, because their business has always been referral, and now they're all looking for lead gen. So you might as well be the lead gen. You can't do no worse than what they've been doing. So you might as well go in there and charge them like $1,000, $1,500 if they're like small local MSPs. Because once you start getting the leads from them, they see your thing works, they stay with you. They don't go nowhere, because they're charging like I was talking to one company, too small for me, so maybe one of you guys can go after them. But what they do is they go into restaurants and banks, and they hook up all the CTV camera systems, right? And they monitor them. They do that kind of thing. They do those kind of hookups, and they do the wiring networking for the computer systems and a Wi-Fi. That's what they do. And so every engagement with them usually is about $10K on a level, but it's usually like 30, 40, 50 and up. And they have no way of generating leads right now. Their business has always been referral, but now they're looking for lead generation because they have to keep their own techs busy. And it's a small company, but they've been around for 10 years. They just never had to do anything outside of show up to a few meetups and like, hey, my name is Bob kind of thing, right? And that's how they were getting their business. But now stuff has changed. So like if you could go into like a company like that, that's local, and you can get like 5 or 6 of them MSPs and you can generate business for them, you have customers for a long time. And you are probably better at, getting someone business than they are for themselves, because I see some bad stuff. They're just too small for me. That's not where my skill set thrives, right? But for a lot of you on here, you're way more technical savvy. And those of you who cold call too, you know how to do that? You're way more technical savvy. So like, what the world's stopping you from jumping and going out there? Because I need y'all. Because the thing is, on my end, I like working with them because they know what they're doing. It's just if they're not in business anymore, I can't work with them on the projects that we need to work in. So I need them to generate leads, but I just can't. I'm not the one to do that. But possibly one of you are. You're probably one of the people to do that. So I'm encouraging you, go out there, reach out. If you got the talent, if you got the skill set, don't be afraid of just reaching out to people and saying, hey, you need help with this, or I've noticed this. Have you considered this? Easy, soft way of going into someone's DMs or email, and it's non-confrontational, and you're just being inquisitive. Like if you ever have an issue reaching out to people, come from a spirit of being inquisitive. Hey, I saw your thing, I love your thing. I just have a question. Can you answer it for me? And that just starts the conversation. Just be conversational and inquisitive. If you're like, hey, I don't want to reach out to that company because I'm scared they're going to tell me screw you. Yeah, sometimes that will happen, but just be inquisitive. I've gotten more positive but just being inquisitive. You're just curious because you don't know if they need your help or not. But for a lot of you, just be a spirit of being very inquisitive. That's the easiest way, especially if you're more introverted, or shy, or if you attempt to do any kind of outreach to anybody, you're kind of scared what the results are going to be. Just try to be inquisitive. Just like, okay, they said screw me or whatever. I'm gonna ask the question to the three other people, and just keep that on you because you'll get some amazing opportunities. You'll be surprised at the amount of people who will just want to talk to you, even if it's just to, vent about something they're doing. And when you keep yourself open for that type of opportunity, you'll get to go to have some good experiences and learn some things. So you can't be afraid. You can't be always full of fear. What's the dude saying? Fear is the mind killer. Hey, how you doing, anyway? But that's up to you. I don't know if you're more introvert. Like I'm an introvert, so I like to think of it as I'm just curious about you. I'm wondering, and that's how I approach it when I have to like kind of prospect it on that way. I try to come from a place of being very inquisitive and just being very curious because anybody that I work with, I generally want to see them successful and help. That makes me feel good to see them successful. So I'm not just trying to take somebody's money when working in our company. I'll just come from a spirit of being inquisitive and good natured. And so if you approach that way and, reaching out to people, if you already are a freelancer or you are thinking about being a freelancer, you will get people who say no. And that's okay because there's plenty of people that out there that can use your skill sets and help. I'm just trying to encourage y'all to go out there and do it because the stuff I'm seeing out there, I'm sure you'll do so much better. It's amazing because some things, I remember when I started freelancing, right? I was very afraid because I didn't like, oh, why would they want to even talk to me, right? And this is years and years ago. And the more I talked to businesses, the more I learned about some of the things that they decide to do, the more I'm like, I was afraid of this. I know more than this. I can do this, you know? But you won't know until you go out there. I could tell you stories of my experiences and what I discovered, but that's why I want to encourage people to go out there, just give it a shot. Like, yes, you're going to be rejected. I get rejected like proposals all the time. Hey, no, thank you, not right now. And that's cool because a year later, they want to sign up. That's okay. So I know for a lot of people, like social anxiety is really big and it's hard when you do want to do stuff outside and, maybe you work a job that doesn't pay very much or you're really good at what you do and you're trying to like, hey, how can I subsidize what I'm doing? Because stuff is kind of hard or especially on my tech people here on YouTube who've gotten laid off in the last few months. Like I feel for you. I've been laid off a couple of times before, so I understand, especially in terrible job markets, and it's like taking months for you guys, and you guys are really good at what you do, and you just got laid off, not because you did anything bad, but because the company wanted to save their bottom line. I understand it. I've been in those before. And for a lot of you, I'm in watching the videos, like, hey, it's taking like 8-9 months for you guys to even get like, a possibility of getting to level 2 of an interview. So I do feel for you because I've been through that before. So my thing is, while you have these skills that you got are valuable. And if you can go out there and just say, you know what? I can't get this full-time role as a junior developer, but maybe I can be somebody else's fractional developer, right? Because you got to eat too. Right? You got to eat. And I got to watch some of you, for those of you who are in that, I've got to watch some of your journeys, and it's just amazing. So I feel really bad that a lot of you are starting to get laid off from a lot of these companies, and it's gotten a lot tougher for you. I also feel bad for the folks who are not necessarily in tech who've gotten laid off, and I've seen their stories here because I remember them times of getting laid off. Now with us, I have clients, so sometimes a client will stay with you, sometimes a client will leave you. That's kind of part of the nature of what happens when you're in business. So you always have to replenish people, replenish clients. So I just, I understand what that is. And when you're in that side, you kind of get used to it. So your job is to, make those connections, build those relationships, talk about the things that you do and you've been successful at, the things that you've seen. And that's what gets people to connect with you and want to work with you on your contracts. So anybody, that's what I was saying earlier here, like anybody here who's like, how to build the AI NAN connections to help people do customer service or lead gen for their company, you know how to plug that in. I'm telling you how to go out there, just take a chance and talk to people and take a chance. These small consultancies, these small cybersecurity companies, these small MSPs, they're looking for people to help with lead gen. So if that's something you know how to do, even if it's cold calling, I'm telling you to go out there because they're looking to spend that money right now because they're having a hard time. Their whole business was referrals. So if you got that skill set, go do your thing. If you got the skill set, go out there and do your thing. You can do no worse. I meet companies all the time that are like, bought people. I'm like, what the hell is like who don't know what they're doing, and they paid a lot of money. So you can do no worse. So if you have that skill set, you already have that talent, go out there and make yourself somebody's fractional salesperson or fractional marketer or fractional developer or web developer. You know, just go out there and do it. Especially if you got my folks who got laid off in some of these different industries that are adjacent, um, and you're having a hard time kind of finding another place to be. What you might find, and this is what I've experienced when I was working heavy corporate as an employee, is that the company that laid you off will a month later hire you as a fractional or contract vendor. That happens all the time. So for those of you who might have been on that side, gotten laid off, depending on what your skill set was, see if you can work for that company as a contract employee. It may not be the money you're getting. It might be more money for you, maybe, but at least you'll be able to work. Because I know a lot of you got laid off, unfortunately, late last year. So I've done that before. That was a good time to save my biscuits when that was a thing. So like if you're in that situation, go do that. Make yourself a fractional something. And a lot of times those companies can find the uh, rather than have you as a full-time employee because they're like, "Who? If I get rid of you, then I don't have to pay payroll tax and I don't have to pay this and that." But as a vendor, as a fractional someone, they don't have to. They don't have any payroll taxes on you. So maybe you can actually negotiate more money than you would have from a salary on a monthly basis. So do that. I've done that when that's happened to me a few times when I was still working full-time corporate. So that's something that for some of you who've gotten laid off, you experienced that, unfortunately. Um, Try to circle back and see if you could be on their vendor list, or depending on the industry, and go work for their competitors. Go be a vendor for their competitors. Have them be your client, right? And some of you are still looking for full-time work. Don't stop looking for that if that's what you want to do. But it's for especially folks in tech, it is taking like 9 months for people like to get like valid interviews that are real interviews and stuff like that. So if you're going to be out of work that long, your finances may not be able to hold you that long. Do some fractional work in whatever it is you were doing. There are plenty of companies. There are smaller companies that will hire you for fractional work as well, and they're willing to pay. They just can't pay a $250,000 salary or $100,000 salary, but you can have a 4 month, 6 month gig, and make maybe 50, $60,000 from it if you're like that's like tech related stuff. But even if you're like a marketing person, like I'm a marketing sales development person, right? Um, they hire fractional CMOs all the time. Go out there and say, hey, I'm a fractional CMO. I'm a fractional, like my specialty is RevOps, right? So marketing and sales with lead generate, with more like business generation. That's what I do. So I go in companies, I'm like, okay, I'll be your fractional RevOps person, like go to market strategy and execution. That's my specialty, right? So I just plug myself into those companies because they can't afford to have a full-time RevOps person. It's because it's very expensive. You're looking at spending, like $300,000 a year to get that type of person. So I go in there and I plug myself in as a fractional person. That's what I do because those small companies will hire you. They just can't hire you full time at the rate that they would need to hire at the amount they would need to hire you. But you can go in here and sell service. You can sell like there's a whole bunch of stuff I do out of that. But there's sometimes they just buy a piece because that's all they can afford. But it's a nice piece. It's a few months. It's a nice piece. So I'm just saying for those of you already have those. A lot of you already have these skills. Like you do web design. There's people. Yes, there's Replit and all the stuff, and I know how to use those things. And you probably mess and dabble, but there's a whole bunch of companies with legacy websites. And if you understand how to do back end development too, you could be their fractional something to deal with that, right? If that is your skill set. So you just can't be afraid to put yourself out there. You will get rejected, but not everybody will tell you no. And if everyone's telling you no, it's telling you something about the market. It's not you personally. It's something about the way you're presenting whatever you're trying to sell them. And come off as a person who's curious. It's no high stakes. There's plenty of people who are willing to pay in business, right? So just come up from that spirit, especially if you're an introvert, because I know it's really hard, it's really draining for my more introverted folks out there. So, just don't be afraid. People will tell you no. It's fine. Let them tell you no. But no now doesn't mean no in 6 months or no in 3 months. Circle back, follow up with people. Someone will say yes, and you just take that opportunity and you go out there and you blow it out the water. Because I know you can do it. And you are probably much better than the people I see out here telling people stuff. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid that, subsidize your income. Go get you a couple of freelance clients and do your thing. That was kind of my journey in it. Stuff changed. The economy for when I got out of school was different. And I worked corporate and I always had let me get 1 or 2 little clients. And that's what I always did, just to make sure that when layoffs happened, because I worked in the industry where it was really up and down because it was changing. And so that's what I did. So for those of you, my folks who got laid off, my folks who are still experiencing being laid off, or maybe you've had to take a job where it's not paying as much as your previous job, I feel for you. But this is your time. This is your opportunity. You have a skill set. You have something that someone is willing to pay for. Okay. And you don't have to go to the big enterprise companies that I kind of go after now, because that's a long time. But there is a medium-sized business would love to have you help them fix something that they don't know how to fix, and they don't have the time opportunity to fix themselves, right? You could be that person and just, get a couple of folks or more, and you can build some of your own thing. And you can always keep it as a side hustle too. You don't always have to go full time. I know people push full time as an entrepreneur, and I'm for whatever you want to do, but it is a lot of stuff that you have to change. You have to change your mindset, how you think about things, how you do things, how you budget out. You have to learn how to see a lot of things as investments and not as costs, because if you keep seeing things as costs, it will destroy you before you begin. And for a lot of people, that's not an easy transition. I still struggle with that transition. It's not an easy transition. But if you have a job, it just ain't paying you what you believe you're worth, but you got some side money coming in, and you don't have to DoorDash or Uber Eats for it, and run up the mileage on your car that you can, turn around and fix somebody's website or build it for them. Or you could do cold calling or any other type of lead gen because you already have the experience. Or you could build, dev tools for them and AI, or help a company implement AI in their company. Then you have an opportunity. So just grasp it, go in there, try and fail and get that yes, and enjoy that yes, and then do good work, right? So, I just wanted to hop on here. I was testing this out, and I wanted to encourage you all to not be afraid. I know a lot of stuff is crazy out here. Some of you are really, suffering, and I know that. I know what that's like. But I'm out here to encourage you and also encourage myself, because sometimes, things get in the way and it seems like you can't get over. But I believe in you. I believe that you can do it. And out there and try and get through the rejection and get through the fear, because on the other side, there is some cool stuff on the other side, and the grass is greener on the other side, as someone who's there and trying to stay there. So, anyway, hope this is encouraging to any of you out there who are considering, um, doing something different this year, or you're in a situation where you just needed some words of encouragement and maybe some ideas. So, anyway, let me hop on. I got a meeting with my client, and maybe I'll do this again soon.